Hello, my friends. Welcome to Luna English Podcast. This is Luna. Today, I've been thinking about self-discipline. It's a word we hear often, but many people misunderstand what it truly means. Self-discipline is not about punishing yourself or living a strict, joyless life. It's not about rejecting happiness or denying yourself every small pleasure. It's about something deeper, the ability to make decisions that serve your long-term goals and values, even when it's difficult. It's about choosing what's right for your future self over what feels easy right now. When you think of it that way, self-discipline becomes a form of self-respect. It's how you prove to yourself that your dreams matter. Without discipline, our goals remain distant ideas. With it, we give them structure and life. In this episode, I want to explore self-discipline from every angle. What it really means, why it's hard to build, and how you can develop it step by step. Because once you understand that discipline isn't about restriction, but about freedom, you'll see it as one of the most powerful skills you can ever build. It's not fixed at birth, it's a muscle, and anyone can strengthen it. What is self-discipline really? It's the quiet strength to stay true to what matters most, even when your feelings or impulses pull you in another direction. It's not about saying no to everything enjoyable. It's about making conscious choices that align with your bigger goals. Imagine you want to improve your English, become healthier, or build a new career. Self-discipline is what keeps you showing up, even on the days you feel tired or unmotivated. It's not about being perfect. It's about returning to the path after every distraction. Every small choice you make builds this skill. Each time you study instead of scrolling, each time you cook instead of ordering junk food, you train your discipline. Over time, those choices become habits, and those habits build the life you want. When you see discipline this way, it stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a tool. It's not a sign of strictness, but of deep care for your future self. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Not something you force, but something that flows from who you are becoming. Why is self-discipline so difficult for most of us? Because our brains are wired to seek comfort and instant pleasure. We love things that feel good now, the quick snack, the extra rest, the easy distraction. This is called instant gratification, and it's a strong force in human behavior. Self-discipline asks us to do the opposite, to delay comfort, to choose effort now for a reward later. That's uncomfortable, and our minds often resist it. It also requires impulse control, the ability to pause before acting on a feeling. Most of us aren't taught how to do this. On top of that, modern life is full of temptations. Everywhere we look, something promises quick happiness. But real growth doesn't come from quick wins. It comes from patience and consistent effort over time. That's why discipline feels hard at first. But the discomfort you feel isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that you're growing. Every time you resist a short-term urge, you strengthen your willpower a little more. Over time, that strength builds, and what once felt impossible starts to feel natural and even rewarding. Is self-discipline the same as motivation? Not at all. Motivation is a feeling. It rises and falls like a wave. Some days you feel inspired and some days you don't. If you rely only on motivation, you'll struggle to stay consistent. Self-discipline is different. It's not a feeling, it's a decision. It's what keeps you moving forward even when motivation disappears. Think of motivation as the spark that lights the fire and discipline as the fuel that keeps it burning. Without discipline, motivation burns out quickly. With discipline, you keep going no matter how you feel. People who wait to feel like it often give up when things get hard, but people with discipline act even when they don't feel ready. And here's something interesting. Once you start acting, motivation often follows. That's why it's more powerful to build discipline than to chase motivation. Because discipline doesn't depend on your mood. It depends on your choice. And when you learn to choose action over mood, you gain control over your growth. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, and you create it instead. How do we practice self-discipline in daily life? One of the most important ways is by learning to choose long-term rewards over short-term pleasures. This is where discipline shows its true power. Every day you face small decisions: to study or to scroll, to walk or to rest, to save or to spend. Each choice shapes your future. Self-discipline means asking yourself a simple question: will this action bring me closer to who I want to be? If the answer is no, it's worth reconsidering. This doesn't mean you must reject all comfort or joy. It means choosing them intentionally, not impulsively. It means creating a balance where short-term pleasures don't destroy long-term progress. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. And over time, discipline stops feeling like sacrifice. It starts to feel like self-care, because every disciplined choice is a gift to your future self. It's you saying, "I believe in my future enough to act for it now." That belief, repeated daily, transforms your life. How do goals help build self-discipline? They give direction to your effort. Without clear goals, discipline feels like hard work without purpose. But when you know exactly what you're working toward, every small action becomes meaningful. A clear goal turns discipline from something vague into something specific and powerful. It also makes decisions easier. You don't have to debate what matters. Your goal shows you the way. Start with small, realistic goals. Instead of, "I want to be fluent," aim for, "I'll listen to one English podcast every day." Instead of, "I want to be fit," try, "I'll walk for 20 minutes every morning." These clear, simple goals are easier to follow, and they give you small wins. Each win builds momentum and strengthens your discipline. Over time, small goals lead to big results. And because your actions are connected to a clear purpose, you're more likely to stay consistent. Goals make discipline feel less like effort and more like progress, and that feeling is deeply motivating. Why are routines so important for self-discipline? Because they make disciplined actions automatic. When something is part of your routine, you don't argue with yourself about whether to do it. You just do it. This reduces decision fatigue and makes discipline easier. A routine is like a path you walk every day. The first few times, it's hard, but the more you walk it, the easier it becomes. Start with small routines and repeat them daily. It could be reading for 10 minutes in the morning or stretching before bed. These small actions create structure, and structure builds consistency. Over time, your routine carries you forward even on days you don't feel motivated. You no longer rely on willpower alone because the habit takes over, and consistency is where real change happens. Discipline isn't about big heroic acts. It's about small actions done again and again. With a routine, discipline becomes part of who you are. Not something you struggle with, but something that quietly guides your day. How does tracking progress help with self-discipline? It makes your growth visible. When you track your actions, you see patterns, the days you stayed consistent and the days you slipped. That awareness builds accountability. It also turns invisible effort into visible progress, and that's incredibly motivating. Every checkmark on a calendar, every note in a journal is a small reminder that you're showing up. Those reminders matter, especially when results feel slow. They prove that your work is building something, even if you can't see it yet. Tracking also helps you adjust. If something isn't working, you can change it. If something is working well, you can build on it. The key is to measure what matters to you and keep it simple. Progress tracking isn't about perfection, it's about awareness and reflection. And with that awareness, discipline becomes easier to sustain, because when you can see how far you've come, it's easier to keep going. Why does accountability make discipline stronger? Because it adds a layer of responsibility. When someone else knows your goals, you feel more committed to follow through. Accountability can come from many places: a friend, a teacher, a community, or even a public promise. It creates gentle pressure that pushes you to act, even when you don't feel like it. But it's not just about pressure. Accountability also gives you support. When you struggle, others can encourage you. When you succeed, they can celebrate with you. That shared experience makes the journey less lonely. Even self-accountability works. Writing your goals down or checking in with yourself regularly builds trust and consistency. What matters is that you're not walking the path alone. We're social creatures, and we often rise higher when we know someone is watching and cheering us on. With accountability, discipline becomes not just a personal effort, but a shared mission, and that makes it stronger. What role does resilience play in self-discipline? A huge one. Because no matter how strong your plan is, setbacks are part of the journey. You'll miss days, lose focus, or feel discouraged. That's normal. Resilience is what helps you get back up. Without it, one mistake becomes a reason to quit. With it, mistakes become lessons. Building resilience starts with kindness toward yourself. Instead of judging yourself for slipping, reflect on what happened and restart. Every time you restart, you strengthen your discipline. It's not about never falling. It's about rising again and again. Over time, resilience turns discipline from something fragile into something stable. It teaches you that progress isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. And when you stop fearing failure, you free yourself to keep trying. That freedom keeps discipline alive even in hard times. And that's where real growth happens. How does identity influence self-discipline? Your actions often follow the story you believe about yourself. If you think, "I'm not disciplined," every effort feels like a battle. But if you believe, "I am someone who keeps promises," discipline feels natural. That's why shifting your identity is so powerful. Start small. Instead of saying, "I want to be a reader," say, "I am a reader." Then prove it with small actions, like reading a page a day. Each action reinforces the identity, and the identity reinforces the action. It's a cycle that grows stronger over time. When discipline becomes part of who you are, you no longer debate whether to act. You simply do. It stops being an external rule and becomes an internal truth. And that's when discipline feels effortless. You're not forcing yourself. You're just living in alignment with who you've decided to be. How do you deal with bad habits while building self-discipline? The key isn't just to stop them, it's to replace them. Nature doesn't like empty spaces. If you remove one behavior without adding another, the old one often returns. So instead of only trying to quit something, focus on what you'll do instead. If you want to stop scrolling before bed, replace that time with reading. If you want to eat fewer sweets, prepare healthy snacks in advance. Replacing old habits with better ones makes discipline easier because you're moving towards something positive, not just away from something negative. And every time you choose the new habit over the old, you build evidence that you can change. Over time, the new habit becomes stronger and the old one weakens. That's how lasting discipline is built, not by fighting against yourself, but by giving yourself a better choice. Why should you celebrate progress? Because small wins build confidence, and confidence builds consistency. Too often, we wait until the final result to feel proud. But every small step forward matters. Every day you keep a promise to yourself, you're building the life you want. Celebrating doesn't mean stopping your progress, it means pausing to acknowledge it. Tell yourself, "I did something good today." That simple act strengthens your belief that you're capable. And that belief fuels more discipline. It also shifts how you see discipline. It's not just about struggle, it's about growth. and growth deserves recognition. The more you celebrate small wins, the more motivated you feel to keep going, and over time, those small wins add up to something much bigger than you imagined. Is discipline restrictive? It may seem like it, but in truth, self-discipline is the path to freedom. Without discipline, you're controlled by impulses, distractions, and moods. With it, you control your choices. That control gives you peace and direction. It lets you build a life that reflects what truly matters to you. Discipline doesn't take joy away. It helps you choose joy with intention. It helps you spend your time and energy on what truly fulfills you. In that way, discipline is not a cage, it's a key. It unlocks the ability to live by design, not by accident. And that kind of freedom is far deeper and more satisfying than any temporary pleasure. It's the freedom to become who you truly want to be. So, what is self-discipline in the end? It's not punishment or restriction. It's the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It's a skill, built slowly through daily choices. It's the tool that turns dreams into plans and plans into reality. And it's the quiet strength that builds self-trust. Discipline gives you power over your life, power to choose, to change, to grow. It's not always easy, but every step you take makes you stronger and more focused. Over time, it stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like freedom. Because every time you act with discipline, you shape your future. And one day, you'll look back and see that discipline didn't limit you. It built you. It gave you the strength to become who you were meant to be. And that's where true growth and lasting success begin.